The Way of Victory is my YouTube page. Please like, subscribe, and share. I've noticed that there's been some questions about the modalities that I share on The Way of Victory. I have about 100 videos out that are instructional of Qigong, Min Zen, and I have a Tai Chi one as well. So let's go into it a little bit and unpack it. So Qigong, first of all, let me back. These modalities are all ways to generate, harness, and store one's internal energy, thereby lengthening one's life. These modalities have also been known to increase psychic ability, increase the frequency of serendipities in your life, and promote longevity. And so now let's talk about, let's unpack these modalities a little bit. Qigong. Qigong is a Chinese method. It's employed by the land known as China. That's where it originated from, or that's where we got it from. It may have originated somewhere else, but it's called Qigong is a way. In Chinese, Qi is internal energy. Gong is work. So Qigong, loosely translated, is working with one's own internal energy to generate, gather, and store and reap the benefits that I mentioned earlier about, what happens when you do these practices over a long period of time, and operative word, consistently. You want to be consistent with everything that you do. And so like I said, there's about 100 videos out there that can give you little techniques, sequences that will be very beneficial to you. So Qigong, working with one's own internal energy and generating and gathering and store that energy, employing mind, breath, and motion. And the sequence of movements with the breath, you coordinate your breath with your physical movements to generate and gather and store that energy. The next modality I teach is not as well known as Qigong, but it's called Min Zen, M-I-N-Z-I-N. This is a technique shown to me by my instructor, Grandmaster Dr. G. And it's a Burmese modality from the land of Burma that also uses mind, breath, and motion to generate, gather, and store internal energy. The meaning of Min is king or ruler. Zen, loosely translated as internal energy. So loosely translated, Min Zen means being the king or ruler of your own internal energy. And you're using these modalities or these techniques to generate, gather, and store your internal energy. And again, the benefits are very tangible. I've been practicing Qigong and Tai Chi since 1999. I started my martial arts training in 1972. And in 1999, I think I was a little bit over 40 years old, I began to feel these injuries on my body that I hadn't felt throughout my whole training cycle. But I think the body began to catch up with me. And it was due to the fact that I'd used up my internal energy, which is what happens after you hit 40. If you don't have a way to replenish it. So when I got into Qigong and Min Zen, it was a way for me to replenish my internal energy. And I became a very devoted practitioner of these modalities. And I did indeed have energy returned to me. I did indeed have an increase in psychic ability. And I did emphatically have more serendipities, or what we call good luck. And just serendipity and synchronicities began to happen and still happen with tremendous regularity in my life. So Tai Chi is loosely translated as the supreme ultimate fist. Tai Chi used to be used primarily as a very high level martial art. It was used, Tai Chi was called the royal fist. It was taught only to the emperor and the royal families in China. I practice Tai Chi more in line with Qigong. and Min Zen as a healing art. Martial arts, I'm still more basic, jab, elbow, headbutt, knee, those types of things. So as far as Tai Chi, for me, it's like an elevated Qi Gong. So you start with Qi Gong. There's no Tai Chi without Qi Gong, proper breathing and coordinating breath and motion. So Tai Chi, the premise of Tai Chi that I use in my practice of Tai Chi, because there are still people who use it as martial arts and pushing hands and they actually have Tai Chi matches in some places. But for my practice of Tai Chi is the art of non-resistance. Someone pushes you, you go with the push. Someone pulls you, you go with the pull. This is not always physical. Most of us don't really have physical interactions on a daily basis. Most of us have mental and spiritual interactions, battles that we go through. And Tai Chi can be employed in elevating your life and having a premise of non-resistance. Like for me, what happened recently with me. I was on the road going in an unknown area, so I think I'm going to make a left. So I go to make this left, but then I realize I need to go to the right. And so I go back into the right, and I almost cut this car off. This car stands on its horn, looking real mean at me. I just stopped, let them go by. But of course, karma, a block up, there's a red light. So now I'm stuck next to this person. They shooting daggers at me. They're a little angry at my swerving, sometimes like that. So I didn't resist it. I merely looked at the person and went like this and like that, and they kind of softened up. And I, didn't have any words, but I think it could have gone another way if I'd have mean mugged them and continued to fight it. But I was, I felt like it was my mistake, so I'm just gonna, basically apologize. Like you bump into somebody, say excuse me. You have to bump into somebody, not say excuse me. So the art of non-resistance is something we can practice in life and going with the flow, just like in the Taoist terminology of Wu Wei. Going with the flow. Going with the flow does not mean not doing anything or not having any plans. What it means is when you run into like major obstacles, find the easiest way around, up, over, or through that situation. Much like the symbol of a rock, a river that's flowing around a boulder. It doesn't seek to go through it. It just flows right around it, and then it keeps going in its main direction. And so many of the wise sages have told us to be like water. You can fit the shape of any container without changing your identity. Forward ever, backward never, and never forget, you're born to win.